Share this video to anyone who needs to learn a smoke, a Molotov, a flash for any of the active duty maps. You can also save the link and skip to the part of the video where I cover the map you want to play so you remember the lineups. Anyway, here is the ultimate nades collection. Enjoy! On T side towards A, here's your CT smoke, your jungle smoke a la 2020 edition, and your stairs smoke. I got you covered for 64 take matchmaking. Here's your CT smoke, and here's your jungle smoke. The essential pop flash is the lamp flash, which lands right above ramp. You always want that for an A execute or an A push, and if you can molly bench, do that as well. You can molly dark from palace like this, and release the molly when the corner hits the bottom of your screen. Worst case, if you need to molly dark from ramp, aim towards the left of the sign to bounce it properly. That was the essential nades for A. Moving on to middle. Here's your window smoke, and here's for short. You normally want to combine both these smokes, but you can also smoke top mid, which is done like this. If you're playing out the round without a plan and you have the best mid spawn, always try to molly connector using this lineup. Second player behind you should flash above mid like this to blind an opper or someone jumping to short. And if you need to smoke window from mid, do it like this. That's all the essential nades you need for middle. On B, here's your market window smoke. And here are your arch smokes. If you're planning on hitting B side fast or just executing, the first player should flash over to blind the player van and then molly under van. The second player just behind can support the first player by throwing a flash that bounces and goes through the window like this. This will potentially blind a crossfire setup, which is why you really want this flash. Third player can hold a smoke for a potential molly that might come to pay a visit. And that's B. Now over to the essential CT side nades. If you're holding ramp, you can throw a molly like this and follow up with a flash. The molly is to counter an explosive push or rush, and the flash is to clear the angle, allowing you to peek safely, plus blinding enemies pushing the right side. If you're holding connector, you can flash over mid to help the window guy take a peek. Then, if they have top mid control, smoke out connector so you're less exposed from all angles. If you're holding window and you know that they're going to smoke it out, then you can molly the corner, which ruins the smoke and allows you to peek. Or if they prefer to smoke top mid, you can throw your molly in front of the smoke so they can't push through short and focus on the right side of mid. If you're holding short, then you can assist the connector guy by throwing a smoke like this, or assist the window guy by throwing a molly underpass. Throw the molly underpass at around 140. Finally, if you're holding B, you can throw a deep molly like this. If they decide to push, they will need to extinguish it, which gives you enough time to call for help. If you think they're not going to push, then you can use this smoke instead to gain control over apartments. On T side towards A, here's your molly for boiler in case of CT's pushing apps. Here's a safe way to smoke long. And here's your motto smoke. Combined with a molly pit. In this corner, you can jump throw a deep long smoke to cross over to B site. Aim just a little bit to the left on 64 tick. If you're playing apps, you can throw this flash to clear hallways. And also this flash for teammates pushing out apps. B now. If you got the best spawn, you can molly top banana like this and combine it with a flash like this. It's a powerful combo that generally gives you early banana control. If they cross the molly and peek, the flash will then blind them and put them in an awkward spot. Here's how to molly sandbags. And here's a good pop flash for a teammate to peek over mini. Now we get to the smokes. Here's your CT smoke. And here's your ruins smoke. Combine the ruins smoke with this pop flash that takes care of almost all angles. And finally a molly for quad. That was T side, now over to the CT side. Towards A, you generally want to save your nades for as long as possible, but you can throw this molly from long to fall back safely if Ts are starting to put a lot of pressure middle. If you're holding apps and you know that they're being aggressive or they want to rush, you can throw this molly at around 142 on the timer, then go into this corner and wallbang the right side of the door. If Ts are behind the molly, they might take a lot of damage. Safest way to hold A is from pit, but sometimes you may need to pop flash your teammates if they want to take a peek. Here's one for long, and here's one for short. Always try to save your smoke for a molly pit, so you can throw it like this to hold your ground and use it as a one-way. Towards B, if you get a good spawn, you can throw this smoke while running and it will land deep down banana. If you have the second best spawn, and your teammate wants to peek banana, throw this fallen flash at 146 on the timer. This flash will not blind your teammate, but it will blind Ts trying to take over banana early in the round. If you decide together on B to play less aggressive, you can safely smoke out the entrance like this. Also, throw this pop flash for a teammate who wants to peek top banana. On T side towards A, you may want to extinguish a molly if you're the first player ramp. Next up, if you're able to get to playground, you can use this great pop flash. This will take care of most CT angles without blinding teammates. From the left side of middle, here's your molly for Jeff. If you instead decide to push from the other side through fountain, here's the other molly for Jeff, and a good flash to counter anyone playing toilets. If you want to go out long, you can throw a flash from this same position as before, just by doing something like this, and it will blind anyone. Now we get to the smokes. Here's your stairs smoke, and here's your bank smoke. If you are long, here's your stair smoke. And here's for bank. On 64 tick, the bank smoke from banana is just up here, and here's your 64 tick stair smoke from long. That That was the essential nades for A. Connector now. You can use a flash to get up close. Then you can molly like this to clear all lower angles, so you only need to focus on stairs. Finally, a flash through the windows going to short. B now. Use this Molotov for short to slow down CTs, and if you have the best spawn, you might need to use your smoke for short. Otherwise, use a flash instead. Here's your heaven smoke, and here's your bridge smoke. You can also smoke sight like this, and do a nose flash for your teammates. Finally, this Molotov takes care of barrels. That was the essential nades for B. Now over to the CT side. This one will need some practice, but here's how to molly T stairs. Make sure the bench touches the bottom of your screen. Not only will T's take lots of damage if they push through it, but it also gives you a lot of map info. Or you can use this smoke and peek over it. In connector, you can smoke lower tunnels like this, which also gives you a one-way. If it's clear, you could try and assist your B players with the same flash I showed you from before. For short, you want to use your molly like this to slow down the T's. Finally, for monster, use a molly to slow down a rush. If you have an HE grenade, you can use it if they extinguish the molly or after it starts to disappear if they are waiting behind it. During a rush or push, I suggest using your smoke on site since it's very hard for T's to take over the site with smokes in the way. On T side A, here's your Ivy smoke. Here's your molly for sandbags. And here's your nades for sight and backsight. Here's the other set of nades for Ivy. You can flush out a player with the molly, and a teammate can later on go out with this flash. On mid, you can flash out like this, which blinds a lot of angles. Follow up with this molly for platform. And here's a CT smoke. And a quick cross smoke. On B, you can flash out teammates safely like this. Here's a smoke for generators. And a good molly. Now over to the CT side. This is your go-to ramp smoke. Release when your crosshair passes the lamp. And here's a good pop flash. If you need to retake a site, here's your NIP smokes. And a good HE grenade for when T's are planting the bomb.
Over at middle, you can bounce a molly onto this wall, which can slow down a mid push. You can also combine it with this flash. Over on B, always try to use your molly like this. And you can also pop flash this way. For retaking B, this is a simple smoke that you can use. It will leave a tiny gap towards the sandbags area. Finally, throw this flash for a teammate to peek stairs. On T side for outside nades, here's your first wall smoke, and here's your second wall smoke. Make sure you also use this cross smoke to get to the other side. Here's two alternative wall smokes that don't require a jump throw, which also means that it works on 64 tick. Here's your garage smoke. Following up with a Molotov towards CT container. Three more essential things you need to know. This Molotov for secret. This main smoke. And this flash. Now let's go inside and start with Squeaky. The Astralis smoke is done by going 4 times out like this, then quickly open, throw, and close the door. Another good use of nades for Squeaky is to blow up the door, then use a smoke like this. This will extinguish a molly and potentially give you access down to vents. A faster version is to blow up the door, then quickly smoke main and go out. A teammate behind can help out with a flash through the smoke. CTs on A will take advantage of the high ground, so here's a molly for hut. And this flash to cover all upper angles. If you need to flash out hut from inside, here's how to do that. On ramp, you can combine a smoke and flash to do this. And going down to B, here's your window smoke. And dark molly. That was the essential nades on T side. Now over to CT side. If you're holding outside, you can bounce a smoke like this, along with a deep flash to get to this position safely. From here you have a one-way silo, and you can quickly jump onto the boxes to peek over. Another version is to throw a molly towards red, which will ruin the outside smokes. Holding A can be difficult if you don't molly Squeaky and hut immediately, so here's how to do that. When retaking A site, here's your hut smoke, and a pop flash when coming up the ladder. On ramp, you can combine your smoke and HE grenade like this in case of a quick ramp rush. The alternative version with a molly is done like this. On T side towards A, here's your E-box smoke, here's your sandwich smoke. Here's a good pop flash for teammates rushing out A. Here's your molly for sandwich. And a self pop flash for T main. If you don't molly sandwich or someone else does, you can molly stop sign and backside like this. Aim pretty high to make the molly bounce. Towards Ivy, you can counter a CT push with this simple flash. From this corner, run and throw a smoke for left side, which you can then combine with a molly for right side. This will push CTs away. Those are your essential lineup nades for A. Now over to B. This is a good molly to prevent an upper B player from peeking. You can also pop flash lower B like this. Here's your connector smoke, combined with a simple flash. And here's your lamp flash. Towards upper B, this is your one-way smoke, and your molly for after plants. That was the essential nades for B. Now over to the CT side. If you have a good spawn for A, you can flash out T main like this, wait for it to pop, and go straight to pop. It's recommended to save your smoke in case they molly, which will also prevent a CT push. If you're going towards Ivy, and you know that Ts like to rush, throw this molly sandwich. It will slow them down, and if they extinguish it, they won't see you going through the smoke. There is a possibility for Ts going up the train, so just be aware of that. A good Ivy default is to simply throw your smoke in front of the entrance and try to gain information just by listening. It's always good to make as little noise as possible when holding Ivy. You can throw this pop flash to a teammate who wants to push out, or this pop flash if a teammate wants to peek Ivy. Finally, B. If you think Ts are going to rush you, then this smoke is really effective since they'll have to push through it blindly. If you need to pop flash teammates going upper or lower B, here's that flash. Finally, you can jiggle while holding a Molotov in case they drop by. On T side for long, for the first player with the best spawn, you want to throw this flash at 150 right before 149 on the timer to time the flash perfectly and blind CTs effectively. And if you want to take over long slowly, throw this flash instead and aim a bit higher on 64 tick. Molly car like this, once again a bit higher on 64 tick. Here's a good cross smoke. Be aware that it will leave a gap towards the end. Smoke Xbox like this. Or like this if you prefer the safer method. Or like this for any server tick rate. Here's how to molly the entire stairs short area. And you can combine it with a flash to clear off an opper. Here's your short smoke. And a quick flash over to enter the site. If you're coming from underground, here's a short flash. Here's your molly behind doors. The CT smoke. And pop flash. You can still see over the CT smoke, but to prevent that from happening, do this. And for CTs that are boosted up here, you can easily molly them off like this. On B, here's your double doors smoke. And here's your entry flash. The next players should chuck a few flashes into this corner, as this doesn't blind Ts but will blind almost every CT angle. One of the players in the back should also molly platform just in case. Now over to the CT side. Best spawn long can molly the entrance like this. Second or third player can throw this flash at around 148 for perfect timing against the first T with the best spawn, and it will barely affect teammates. Smoking cross can be done like this and should be done by the player with the worst spawn towards A or B, and for B, if you are two players, one should molly and one should use their HE grenade at roughly the same time to slow down a B rush. If you're playing solo B, you can use a smoke instead and play close to dodge any incoming flashes.
Slap a like on the video, stay awesome, and go bananas.